Hello everybody, welcome to WhatCulture Gaming. I'm Scott, joined by Josh.
Hello Scott.
Josh, my friend, a Sony State of Play seems to be happening in March, which isn't right now, it's this month, but they haven't announced it officially. However, that doesn't mean that leaks aren't going to be coming out left, right and centre. So, looking across to Account NGT, don't know who this person is, but this account massively blew up because a couple of years ago, or a year ago, they mentioned Star Wars Eclipse was going to be happening with a lot of different details, and obviously when that game then got confirmed, a lot of people went back to that account and went, so what else you got? What are you buying? And so what else have you got tucked away? And so that account now is just telling all sorts of different things that are going to be happening. And they were one of many people who said there'll be a Sony State of Play coming this month, and the PlayStation have a lot of different things to show off. And in the replies to one of those tweets, someone said, is there going to be a new Sly Cooper? And they just said yes. And then Account NGT, never going to take you for a ride, did another tweet, literally just saying, I can corroborate that a new Sly Cooper and a new Infamous are in development. Also saying that it should be a great year for PlayStation players and that Sony are ready to announce various things. They won't be doing all of them at State of Play, but they can confirm that a new Sly Cooper and a new Infamous are in the works.
So what you're saying is this account has been revealing things on the sly for the past few months. Been waiting at least 2 minutes.
It's gonna make it interesting
to make this joke.
Yeah, it's gotta be done.
It's funny that, man, because, you know, like, Sony has such a rich history of IP that they're just sitting on, including Sly Cooper, including Infamous. However,
including Metal Gear Solid.
Including Metal Gear Solid. But what's tickles my pickle about this is that these are both Sucker Punch developed games, and Sucker Punch obviously just got massive by releasing Ghost of Tsushima, which they're most likely working on a sequel to now. So my question is, how do these games fit into either that developer's portfolio or are they going to be given out to a new studio to be revitalized?
Well, I don't want to pop any bubbles, but I wonder if, because the statement is, I can corroborate that a new Sly Cooper and new Infamous are in development.
I know where you're going with this, I think.
Well, I was going to say, what if it's just a remake of one of the original ones? Because that's an easier thing to do, and the gameplay templates are already there. You know, Sly Cooper's last game was 2013. There was Thieves in Time, I think, on the PS3, which is also on the Vita. But point being that we're only going back 2 generations, ostensibly. Maybe there's enough there to overhaul or redo texture-wise and put a new Sly Cooper game out. The HD trilogy that they put out was really nice as well. I kind of wonder if that would class as a new game, if you up-res that to 4K. I don't know, but I wonder, because that was the first thing I thought of. I was like, they're doing Ghost of Tsushima. Tsushima is by far their best game. Not anything against their other stuff, but in terms of how well it's been received and how well it's gone down globally, it makes sense to do Ghost of Tsushima Part 2 rather than divert funds back into another Infamous, which, you know, Infamous Second Son, solid enough, but that didn't light the world on fire back in 2014. So it makes more sense for me to put your A-team on Ghost of Tsushima, but I am curious what the hell you do with these IP in 2022.
100%. I think, you know, if you had told me a year ago that they were going to remake these games, I would have said, Scott Telford, don't be silly. But now, now that we know, you know, Sony's in the business of remaking The Last of Us Part 1, a game that absolutely does not need to be remade, I can see them doing this, and I can especially see them doing it with Sly Cooper, but giving Sly the kind of Crash Bandicoot treatment, you know, kind of upgrade it in that way, remake it, and give it kind of like the same graphical overhaul that worked so well for Crash, worked so well for Spyro. I know the game's styles were very different, but like just kind of giving it that level of attention rather than taking those HD remakes, like you said, and just kind of porting them over. I can see them kind of building Sly 1 in that way.
Yeah, to be honest, nothing in here mentions that Sucker Punch are behind the development, so there is that. They could maybe give it to one of the smaller teams, some other third-party studio or something that could help Sony put it out as an exclusive, but it might be made in a different vein. What do you think of the overall IP pull of these characters? Like, does anyone... I mean, the thing is, with Sly Cooper, there was a TV show that was meant to be coming out years ago. Yeah. And there was an update on the wiki a couple of years ago saying it was still going to be coming out, and then nothing's happened again. So I wonder if in this whole push that Sony has for PlayStation Studios and PlayStation Productions, the gaming wing and the movie wing, or the TV wing as well, maybe then they finally pull the trigger on a full-on media onslaught of Sly stuff. Because he's a great character, but I'm like, maybe he needs to be built back up from the ground up again and do, you know, the TV show, whatever, that introduces a whole new generation to him and go down that route.
I mean, Scott Telford, you asked there, like how much pull do these franchises have? And, you know, I want to be corrected in the comments. I want to know if anyone else likes Sly Cooper, because for my money, The only person I know who likes Sly Cooper to a ridiculous extent is your friend of mine, Ash Millman. I don't know if anyone else in the world cares as much about a potential remake.
She might like him a little bit too much.
Maybe, I think so. A little bit.
Just saying.
I've seen her phone background. It's just there.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure about Sly in particular, but I'm sure Sony is looking at the success of Ratchet and Clank, especially. They had the remake of the original Ratchet and Clank to tie into the movie. They just had Rift Apart, which was a huge success, and I imagine they're looking at their franchises and saying, well, what else have we got in that realm? What else have we got? They tried Knack didn't go down that route that well, so why not bring back Sly Cooper?
I would watch the S out of a Knack TV show.
I would
just watch them trying to do 1 hour run times. Give me a whole season.
Like the Cuphead show, but with like Knack instead. I want a Knack 2 cameo in that show. Perhaps.
If he's like animated stop motion and he comes together from all the parts of a shed and it becomes Knack, I might be up for that. But
I'll tell you what,
gotta make it work.
Knack sucks, but Infamous is good, actually.
It's true.
IMO. I really want to see Infamous return. Like you said, Second Son was a solid game. It didn't blow anyone's minds. But that franchise has such potential. It has such a great lore. It has such a great hook for open world superhero gameplay. Well. He literally has a hook. Infamous has a metaphorical one, which in my opinion better. Metaphorical stuff always better than quite literal hooks. I forgot where I was going with this point.
What I was going to say
go on.
Was that 2022 is year of the hook if you're an AEW fan, which is only going to make sense to about a portion of you, but it doesn't matter. The overall point is that Infamous stuff feels like it could have had a way bigger response when the MCU was in full flow and all superhero stuff was doing the rounds. So I wonder if they do an Infamous now, if that is just another open world game in the style of the PlayStation template, but you get given the various powers that made Infamous what it was in terms of the hovering and the morality system and things like that. But yeah, I'm just curious kind of which things they lean on, like which things make the most sense for their triple pronged approach of game, TV, movie. Sly makes perfect sense for that stuff. I don't know if you could do a Infamous TV show. Feels like it might be a bit hokey. You have to have a big budget for the movie thing. I don't know.
I reckon if there's any time to do an Infamous show, it's probably right now, and I think you could bring it back. PlayStation Productions are ramping up their movie and TV productions. We've got Uncharted just come out. That's made millions and millions of dollars. We've got the Last of Us TV show upcoming. That's an expensive show. I was reading into that. That's like one of the most expensive shows HBO has ever made. So people are willing to put the money behind these projects. And I think Infamous, especially with the superhero boom now, like you said, we've got small screen superhero properties that are doing really well. You've got the likes of The Boys at Amazon.
Boys so good.
Obviously got everything on Disney Plus. I think if Sony were going to bankroll their own superhero show, why not try it with Infamous? Why not try to get that off the ground and get it on, a HBO or a Netflix or whatever?
To be honest as well, not to give it away, but the end of the first Infamous game, that big twist, is actually a really cool twist that might make more ripples if you put it in a more mainstream capacity. I'm just thinking of the way that Sony are approaching their properties these days, and the fact that they're trying to bring back Twisted Metal, something that's based in the late 90s in terms of the overall appeal. If they can make that work, then maybe they can make these other things work too.
You're right though, Sony, for better or worse, and this might be an entire video to do on its own because I find it fascinating, Sony is definitely shifting towards this multimedia approach.
Yes.
About there, they're bringing back Twisted Metal in game form. They're also doing a TV show. They've got Ghost of Tsushima, that was a huge success. They're doing a Ghost of Tsushima movie. They're doing a Horizon movie. They've got the Last of Us TV show. They've got Uncharted film. They are really trying to diversify their portfolio outside of just games.
Not diversifying the genre.
No, not really.
Open world game, workbench, crafting components.
That's another video. We're just giving away all the video ideas right now. But yeah, you know what I mean? So it's fascinating to see them potentially looking into their older properties and being like, that will make a cool reboot of a game, but maybe also it'll make a cool TV show or a cool movie.
Yes, I for one would just welcome Sly Cooper being back in our lives. I think in a world where Sonic has taken off in the movie space, it makes sense to have Sly Cooper in there as well. He's a cool cat, and it makes sense that he would hang with the likes of Sonic or whoever is into those people. But let us know what you think down in the comments below of a new Sly game or a new Infamous game. Can they work in 2022 or for the rest of the generation? For now, I've been Scott from WhatCulture.com.
I've been Josh from WhatCulture.com.
And we'll catch you next time.
Bye-bye.
Hook.